Hi everyone, it's Kasia, and I was actually trying to think of an interesting video for us all, and I was battling with this idea for a while now. I wanted to create a video about my most unusual decks, so the most unusual decks in my collection. And when I think of unusual, what I mean is like just either a very unusual thematic, you know, like a theme of the deck, or just unusual artwork and a deck that it's just totally out there. It's just very different to your regular tarot deck. So let's just go right ahead. I have a few decks, mostly tarot decks, but also some oracle decks. And if you feel like you would like to do a VR to this video, I would love to see your most unusual decks or the most unusual decks in your collection. So I'm just going to start right off without any particular order. So the first one that came to mind is the Tiltwig Tarot. Probably a lot of you know this deck. Unfortunately, the creator has passed away, and but this deck is a very unique and a very kind of weird, right, deck to have in the collection. So first of all, it's fully detailed. It has this very strange color scheme, right? We don't see it often in decks, and it's hard to read really, because you have to like really go into the picture to see what the heck is happening, what is this picture showing on the first glance. Sometimes it's just like a blurb, you know, and then you start seeing the details. So just by the way of how this deck demands you to look into the picture, it kind of creates a way to read it too. First you look at the surface, then you look deeper underneath, what you see in the mirror, you know, what's visible in the kind of subconscious level, or not so conscious level, maybe not subconscious, but not so conscious level. So it's a very interesting and intriguing deck to read with. As I said, not very simple to read with, and demands to stop, you know, look down and look deeply into the image. I don't know why my camera just starts to freak out. It probably doesn't know where to focus, because it's a very strange deck. So it's very beautiful though. It basically just shows interior design, interior kind of rooms and gardens and some other kind of, but it's all like interior related mostly anyway. Some letter. So very kind of unique, original, strange deck to read, and that's what I'm kind of going for in this video. Another one that I thought it's pretty unique is this Abyssal Tarot. I have received this deck as a gift and I'm very grateful for it, but I still haven't really quite gotten to it. I find it like exactly this. I find it quite strange, and it's very probably subjective if it's beautiful or not. Some of the artwork is incredible, the colors, the flow, really amazing. These are the bags, but they're different from card to card, and these are the names of the original artwork, and these are the kind of names of the cards, like Four of Swords. But you know, Knight of Wands, you can't really, like, it wasn't artwork created for the deck. I guess it's just the artwork that really is that really was created and then, you know, made into a deck. But nevertheless, incredible artwork and really beautiful colors. So it's definitely an art deck. It's very strange, again, quite hard to read, maybe sometimes even quite challenging, you know, some in illustrations, quite sexual or sensual, and it has just a lot of like kind of, the pictures were taken underwater, so it comes with this kind of like I want to take a breath kind of feeling. So yeah, I didn't get into it yet, but it fascinates me, and at some point I'm sure there will be time in my life when this deck will totally speak to me. But as you see, it's quite brave out there on the like sexuality or sensuality images and nakedness. So this was the Abyssal Tarot by Shelley Corbett. I think it was possible to get it on Etsy. I'm not sure if it's still available or not. Another one that I found quite you know, kind of like an art deck, very unique. First of all, really beautifully made. It's the Coolio Occultati Tarot by Radomil Bogusławski, and big cards, right? Very big. As you can see, I haven't really used much of this deck. Again, I swapped for this deck. I did a reading for someone for this deck, and yeah, I received this. So the majors are black and white, and the colorful minors are color coded. And as you can see, also a very kind of unusual artwork, very unusual Rider-Waite-Smith rendition, because it does follow Rider-Waite-Smith. As you can see, like swords and, you know, 7 of Wands. So easy kind of to read. It's not that it's so strange to read, but, and you know, it is color coordinated, so you can totally kind of follow 3 of Cups, you know, High Priestess and so on. So it's quite easy to distinguish what card you're dealing with, but it's just very, very different, very unique. And I just find these decks, you know, when you work with clients specifically, I find these particular decks quite hard to use, because it's just a client, I like when a client can see themselves in the image. And yeah, I find it quite hard to see myself in those particular artwork or art images, but nevertheless I really appreciate, you know, the images themselves. So I kept this deck for that reason, and because yeah, it was probably one of the first decks I got from exchange for readings, and the person who sent it to me became one of my greatest friends, so I appreciate this deck and I kind of hold on to it. Another one that I find quite, you know, unique and original, sip of coffee, is this Lateral De Femme Erotique, and this is a, I think it was sold through Amazon actually, but it was, yeah, it's a deck from 2011, you know, so it says here beautyhistorymagic.com, and it's the backs are pretty kind of not very maybe nice, but yeah, that's how they are. The paper is medium too. In my, I just kind of don't like the feel of it, but nevertheless the deck also I got it from a swap from a very lovely Diane, whom I still follow on Instagram, and yeah, it's a very unique females only vintage kind of photographed deck, and it's kind of like an oracle deck. I like using it as an oracle, so it follows the tarot structure, but you've got also little keywords like withdraw and change direction for the Hermit. For the Queen of Swords you have she thinks the unthinkable, which is kind of cool, right? And then we have the gift of work in the world for the Ace of Pentacles. Really cool. I like the kind of keywords here, and I have to say that I really enjoy working with this deck. There's just something feminine and something raw about it, not because they all naked, but just something very pure about this deck, and simple keywords. One of the cards here was kind of when I got it from a swap was a bit knackered, but most of the time I really like using this deck. So for the Tower we have shattering of structure, and there's just this body and this woman going like, oh my god, you know, drama is happening. So it's quite unique, and very untypical in this regards. Another one that I have to mention is the Mysteries of Mary Tarot deck. It is a very unique deck, and although I use it all the time, this deck by Etienne Grobler is, you know, it's definitely on the unique end. So it basically follows Mary's initiations and teachings and you know, life through many different altars that Etienne has created. I really advise you to watch the Inspired Tarot Map interview with Etienne. You can find out a lot about the process of how this deck came to life and what it means actually. And there's a review that I did also on my channel, so take a look. But yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite decks ever. Very healing, very incredible, and brings a lot of sacred feminine back into your life. Another one that I find really strange and unique is this Mignon Tarot by Ellen Lorenzi Prince. I love her deck. So this one is The Fault of Rose from Rose of the Dance Tarot. I mean Dance of the Soul Tarot. And I love Ellen's writing, her books, her Dark Goddess book. You know, the Dark Goddess is one of my favorite decks ever. And this deck is also, you know, you just won't be able to read it basically. If you don't have the book, you just, you know, it kind of follows some form of Rider-Waite-Smith, but it's really not a deck to, you know, to read easily. It's a very strange deck that's created from the artwork of old Mignon kind of temples, from the walls, from the artifacts. So it's very goddess-like, you know, the old goddess culture, but yeah, not easy to read, very unique, very strange. You won't be able to probably recognize any art. So one of the deck that you have to really use the book to be able to use the deck. But thank God Ellen's books are so amazing that you kind of always want to use the book nevertheless. Okay, so Mignon Tarot. Then there's more of the religious decks, how I call them. So I showed you the Mysteries of Mary, which was very unique. And then another one which is really unique is the Rumi Tarot. I know it's a very hard to get deck. I got it at some point from a swap. And it's just a kind of Rumi's quotations. There's a big book that comes with this deck, and Rumi's quotes on, you know, all of the images. So it's kind of like a peepish deck. It has little illustrations, but yeah, on the minors you get the little illustrations like this, and the chord cards are a bit different, and then the majors are also where do we have some majors to show you? Yeah, it's like the chord cards, so you get a bigger illustration and a quotation always. So the quote says, mysteries are not communicable. Mysteries are not communicable, save to those who know. Are not communicable, save to those who know. Okay, so you get different quotes from Rumi. So don't say tomorrow, for many tomorrows have passed, for 7 of coins. And I really love the idea of creating something like this, and, you know, moving through Rumi's poetry and creating a deck. This is by Nigel Jackson. Another one that I also find, you know, very unique is the Buddha Tarot by Robert M. Place. And here a big shout out if somebody has the Saints Tarot by Robert M. Place and it's not too keen or using it. You know, sometimes people get decks and they just go, oh, I don't really like them anymore, or, you know, I'm not Christian, so I don't really care. I would love to put my hands onto the Saint deck, just because, yeah, I like those religious decks. I just like having all the different ones, and especially the Saints one, which is kind of like, you know, from my tradition, my spiritual tradition. It's a Christian one. So if anybody wants to swap or sell for a reasonable price, or you know, exchange for readings or whatever people like want or something, then just please contact me and we can discuss the details, and I'd love to put my hands on it. So this is the Buddha Tarot, and also comes with a big book which, you know, describes the symbols used and things like this. So I found it really interesting, but again, you probably won't be able to, I mean, you can read it as a peep deck, but you won't be able to, you know, make stories out of this deck if you don't have the book that comes with it. So this is the backs. So quite unusual and original deck to have and play with. Another one which maybe is not religious, but it kind of is, it's this William Blake Tarot, and there is a new version of it. I've got this first edition, but there is a new version of it, and it's not that expensive and comes with big book, and the book is really great for this deck. I think you can even download this. I mean, the deck doesn't come with the book, but you can download the book online. So this is with artwork from William Blake and from his drawings. And I just saw recently, when I went to London in November last year, I saw this I saw William Blake exhibition with a lot of his drawings, and it's just fascinating then, you know, to see the deck. And I remember some of the originals, and it's just, yeah, his artwork is amazing. And the book, I can't now remember who wrote this, Ed Burton or something like this, I can't remember. I will maybe link it, and you can, you know, read a lot about philosophy and Blake's philosophy in the book, and it's really well done. It's deeply researched, well written. So again, but yeah, as you can see, that, you know, the suits are changed. There's painting, there's poetry, there is knowledge, and there is I mean, there's science, and there is, what else is there, the next suit? Painting, music, yeah, poetry, music, and science. So it's a really unique and very cool deck, especially if you like William Blake. You might want to, you know, get this one. Another one that I find quite unusual, you know, especially when you think of the kind of what you use decks for. This is this past life, art history past life tarot deck by Red Orchid Publishing. So basically it is a tarot deck. You have the tarot, and I have an interview recorded also with the creator of this deck. So take a look at the past life tarot, and from Red Orchid Publishing. And basically it's a deck to read past lives. So you have all this kind of, you have tarot associations, but you also have associations with places, with time, and it's all made from, you know, the artwork is used from like different classical paintings, but it's really beautiful and interesting nevertheless, to, you know, check stuff from past lives if you're curious to know. So this is pretty cool and unique in its own kind of function. And then I thought, you know, there is this Crystal and Bone Tarot, which is kind of like, you know, a regular tarot deck. It's by Jace Anderson. He's still on Instagram. I think you can still purchase this deck. I'm not too sure if he still does it, but he created the artwork himself. I have a review of this deck on my channel as well, and it's a really strange deck, right? But it's also very smart for some of the cards. It's really quite interesting what images he picked, but nevertheless it's quite an unusual deck, unusual artwork, unusual lines, and it's black and white with this kind of strange figures, a bit peepish, but as you can see, different, just a different, strange, unusual deck, and quite interesting. If you like black and white decks especially, you might take a look in this one. It comes with a really nice PDF book, kind of from the perspective of mindfulness, and I really enjoyed reading the book and using the book with the deck as well. It's quite an empowering read. And then I have few more. So I've got two Tarot de Marseille decks. One is this Tarot de Marseille, Tarot of the Third Millennium. I'm not sure if this deck is still in print. It's the weirdest deck ever. And it basically has like overimposed pictures of classical Tarot de Marseille over some weird artwork, and it has some website on the side. It's like kind of a plan of, like, it's strange. It's like the third millennium, so it's like a map of, you know, different things, gives you different websites to check out, and the minors are like this, and then the majors have this beautiful kind of pencil-like majors and illustrations. So this is like, for example, the Chariot, and then we have this cool Hermit. So the majors are really beautiful, and then you get this strangest minors, but, you know, readable, because again, that's pretty cool for the sun. You can read the overimposed Tarot de Marseille, traditional Tarot de Marseille messages. But yeah, it's a very strange, very unusual deck. I haven't seen too much of it. The beautiful artwork on the majors for sure. So this is Tarot of the Third Millennium, and this was by Los Carabillo. And then another strange Tarot de Marseille is this Tarot of Marseille by Tom Schick. It's called Major Tom's Tarot of Marseille, and it comes with this. It's produced by Schiffer, but it's from 2007, so it's a very strange, very kind of old deck. It comes with this cute booklet, and the cards are really kind of cool too, but it's the weirdest Marseille, right? So if you look at it, it has this baseball hats. They color coordinated the minors, but yeah, the majors have all these baseball hats everywhere, and like really strange looking people, and yeah, the strength. But I love the paper, and I actually look at the strangest Cavalier of Coins. I like the paper. I kind of like the humor of it, and yeah, I wanted to get rid of it, but then I'm not sure, and there is just something cute about it, and the color coordination makes it quite easy to read. So yeah, it's a strange deck, right? So this is Major Tom's Tarot of Marseille. Comfortable, cool box, the booklet. I wish Schiffer printed decks like this. Really nice paper, easy to shuffle, not too thick. And then these two, they're really kind of strange decks too. There's Syzygy Oracle or Syzygy Oracle and Sacred Mandala Lenormand by Heather Mendel. So this is like majors only deck, and it's basically kind of exploration of Kabbalistic meanings, and there's mandalas for Sephiras, and yeah, so it's a very kind of untypical, strange deck to explore, but also quite interesting. There's apparently a whole book for it too, which I don't have, but yeah, I wouldn't mind checking it out. So this is the Syzygy Oracle, which is transformational tarot and the Tree of Life. So the 22 majors and then the Sephira cards. And this is Sacred Mandala Lenormand, which is just kind of black and white deck with mandalas and with the little illustrations. Very simple but easy to read, you know, it's kind of cute to use. So I quite like this deck actually, and this is one of not many Lenormand decks that I kept. So this is the Sacred Mandala Lenormand by Heather Mendel, and I got this at some point from a swap. To be honest, I'm not sure if they're still on sale or not. It's a long time ago that I got those. And there is 3 more decks. So one is the Wooden Tarot, and I know that a lot of you have this deck. And again, the majors are really kind of easy to read, like the Star, and really beautiful and kind of what I thought really well thought through. And then the minors are a little bit kind of I don't know, not maybe rushed, but quite hard to read and quite hard to get into or make some form of associations, at least for me. And I'm pretty experienced reader, so I think for the beginners it might be really kind of quite difficult, but yeah, some of the majors are amazing. But again, very untypical, and there's no book for this deck, so you really have to help yourself and make it up as you go. But very kind of beautiful artwork. I love Andy's artwork. So the Wooden Tarot by Skull Garden, and then 2 more decks. So this one is the deck Le 77 Alia, I don't know how to pronounce it, never know, never will know. And this is the Oracle deck. I call it Light Oracle, written by Light, and it's just basically each card connects to the next, and you can pull, you know, 3 cards and create like a cool reading, and then you know that there is a connection between everything. So I really like it for that reason. And unfortunately it comes with the French booklet with the meanings of each of the cards, like a, you know, like simply like a few keywords, but she can send you, if you write her, she can send you the English translation, so it can be printed, but it's mostly for you making your own associations depending on the deck, you know, on the day I mean, and on the question and so on. But it's a very kind of cute deck. It's square, it's small, and I enjoy it. I actually really do. And maybe I don't use it very often, but like I just like having it in my collection, and I like using it when I feel inspired to use a little bit more my intuition. And then the last one that I chose is this, what is it? It's by Lisa Hunt, Shapeshifter Tarot. Oh, that's what it is, Shapeshifter Tarot. And I trimmed mine, so there's no borders, and I had this deck. I've had this deck forever. I bought it in Poland at some point. It comes with a big book, which I'm not particularly keen on. It was when Lisa Hunt was working with some other people, I can't remember now, but it's basically a Shapeshifter Tarot, so I enjoy it for this kind of shamanic imagery, where it's just this half animal, half humans. There's, you know, a lot of shape-shifting going on in each of the cards, and I think it's really cool deck for storytelling, for shamanic journeying, for playing with, you know, the spirit animals and so on, but also just the storytelling with the cards, because it's quite a lot to play with, and it's quite imagination kind of affirming and awakening. So I thought, yeah, but it's a very strange deck. Again, you wouldn't be able to know, you know, maybe that's 7 of Wands, or is it, you know, 8 of Swords, maybe 3 of Cups, maybe. So it kind of follows Rider-Waite-Smith again, but yeah, very different deck. So this was the last of my unusual and strange decks. So I'm curious what you guys would come up with. Let me know, and I hope you enjoyed it. So much love to you, and I speak to you soon. Bye.